Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome to another action-packed, entertaining, but abbreviated episode of the Don't Ask Me Why podcast with me, Reggie, and him, Roger. Say hi, Roger.
Hey, how you doing, Reg? How are things down in hot Atlanta?
Not so hot, but cooler or warmer, rather, than it is up there.
Raining here all day, brother.
Same here. I think there's some tornadic conditions, but we are getting some milder temps. We've been in the 50s, 60s. I know you all have been in the 30s and 40s. So
yeah, just ugly today.
Yeah.
You know, just glad I'm sticking around for the holiday.
Yeah.
Not having to travel.
Oh well, we thought it would be a good opportunity to shorten up the content this week and not step on certain festive Thanksgiving traditions like the Macy's parade, dry turkey.
Yes.
Drunken family members.
And uncles.
You know. Yeah.
And drunken uncles.
Twilight Zone marathon. We don't want to interrupt with that.
No.
But this episode should pair perfectly with the 3 games we got on Thursday. And it's a one bonus game on Friday, the first Black Friday NFL game in the history of the league. Are you excited, Roger?
Especially for the Black Friday game with the explosive powerhouse of the New York Jets offense, against Miami. That should be a shootout. I'm thinking over. The over number cannot be high enough in that game.
I wonder what it is. I don't know.
I didn't look at it. I'm afraid to look at that.
I'm glad you mentioned that. What do you think the over is? What do you think the number is?
Just guessing and not remembering what it is, I would say probably 45.
41. That's pretty aggressive. What that tells me is that you should put a little action on that because you think it's going to go over. Hello.
I told you last week, that's how I look at overs anyways. But the difference in this game when it comes to playing it over is that the Jets, despite their anemic offense, are still pretty effective defensively. And it's kind of why I picked the Raiders last week, getting 14.5 against Miami.
Yeah.
Because, a good defense, which the Jets still have, can somewhat throttle and hold down a scoring machine like Miami. So that would steer me away from playing that as an over, because I don't think, if I thought that the Jets could score, 17 points, sure, I would take that all day.
Yeah.
But I don't think they can.
Yeah. And speaking of the picks, once again, we had an above average performance from week 11. We finished with 3-2 and a tie, 3-2-1, which puts us at an overall record of 29, 22, and 3. And that keeps our winning percentage at around 56% still. So we're still in good shape. The deeper we get into the season, the harder that number is to move. So overall, kudos on our parts, a pat on our back for some pretty exceptional picks as a team. So
and that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's 3 weeks in a row of a winning record, making 6 picks against the spread.
I'd be interested to see what kind of streaks we have going. So I know we had the 4-2 and we were a couple of inches away from a field goal being made and a drop pass.
Indeed.
From being 4-1-1. So it happens.
Last 3 weeks, I've got us 4-2, 4-2, 3-2-1.
Okay.
So that's 11, 6, and 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So anyway,
so I love it. Like I said, we're going to keep this pretty abbreviated. Although there have been some pretty ground shaking moves that have recently occurred. More notably, last week, the Bills got rid of Ken Dorsey and elevated Joe Brady as their OC, and it looked like it paid dividends for them. And then yesterday or this?
I think it was today.
So today, this earlier today, the Steelers decided to move on from Mike Canada, and I know that has been a topic or a cause that Steeler fans have been pushing for quite some time. The development of Kenny Pickett or the lack thereof. One of the things I found interesting about that news is that the Steelers have not had more yards than any team that they played. How would I word that? They have out-yarded. How would you put that?
Outgained.
Right. They have been outgained for every game this season. So basically that means that they're almost guaranteed to put their defense in a position to help them win every game, if not win the game for them.
Here's the interesting part of that, Reggie, is that I watch, all kinds of podcasts and NFL news all over the place and analytics and analysts. And, someone was bringing up last week the fact that, Pittsburgh's defense, remember now, they're ranked like 30th out of 32 teams in the league. And I was thinking like, well, that doesn't make any sense because they're winning games because of their defense. How could that be? And it was explained in a way that even I could grasp it, which was that, look, if your defense is out on the field the majority of the game, their defensive numbers are going to be extrapolated, to make it look like they're giving up, a huge amount of yards, huge amount of passing yards, rushing yards. And because of the fact that their offense is off the field so much and punting so many times a game, that's what makes defensive stats look bad. Now, if you look at points against the Steelers defense, I'm sure that they, move way up the chain when it comes to rankings on that. So when you're looking at defensive stats and how defensive teams are ranked at any point during the year, I would say look more at points allowed than any other stat. Because if your offense sucks, right, and is punting every other time and not getting first downs, then your defense is going to give up a lot of yards. It has to be.
Agreed. Let's move on real quick to some pretty big news that we have to announce regarding our guests, upcoming guests next week. Raj, you want to give a little more detail on that?
Yeah, we've been working on this for a few weeks. Our team that brings in guests and talent has been working on this for a while. Tyrone Drakeford, a cornerback for 3 teams in the league, including the Saints, the 49ers, and even the Washington Redskins for a short period of time, will be joining us next week on Don't Ask Me Why.
There we go.
He had a great career in the NFL. The notable things are a 95 Super Bowl championship with the 49ers, of which he was a safety or cornerback, and had really nice numbers. In the 4 years that he played for the 49ers, he had 2 years where he had 5 interceptions in those 2 years. That's a nice number. I wish we had cornerbacks for my team right now that were looking at 5 interceptions for the year. So great college career at Virginia Tech. And like I said, played for the Saints and also Washington for a brief period. But an 8-year NFL career. We're excited to have him join us. His career beyond football has been exemplary. He got his master's and started working at the high school level as a coach and athletic director, and has continued the upward trend to sort of recreate his life after football. And I wish that more players in the NFL followed that example. And we'll talk to him about that next week, because we'll be devoting a lot of the show next week to the Tyrone Drakeford interview.
That sounds awesome. Can't wait. We promised it. So our crack staff put in the hours and they delivered. So looking forward to that. It should be a great episode. So tune in next week. And also, speaking of episodes, short episode this week. Take this opportunity for the episodes that you have missed. Go back, check them out. And what I'd like for you all to do is to just watch some of these episodes or listen via Spotify or any of the other mediums that we're available on, and just listen to some of the things that we've been correct on. We've been correct on a slew of things in regards to players, in regards to team performances. We've been ahead of the curve. We really have. So check us out. Go back and check out some of those great episodes. And really, we are kind of like, what's the word? Prophets, I would say. Not the prophet, and we're prophets, and we're making you a prophet. Hello.
Right. Yeah. You use either spelling that you like. And Bill Belichick, and of course, I said in week 1 that Mac Jones would be the first NFL quarterback that would be, put down for the year. And even though it hasn't officially been announced yet, Bill Belichick has said for this week's game, he's still not announcing a starting quarterback until, closer to the weekend. And so I'm wondering, you can't bring Brady back because they're not in contention, and he's 52, 53 years old? Close. Yeah. So, I don't think that, and you got Bradley, what is it? Zappy. You get Zappy.
I saw Will Levis. Was it Will Levis or?
Not Will Levis. He's in Tennessee.
Not Will Levis. It's a Will somebody. I saw a name. I was like, who is this?
Will Greer, maybe?
Is it Will Greer? Damn, Will Levis.
I don't know.
What am I talking about?
But it's a mess.
3 just the guys. That's what it is. It's 3 Jags.
Yeah, it's a mess.
So before we get to the picks, just want a quick preview of the games. Not preview, but I just want to bring them up. The Lions and the Cowboys are annual staples with Thanksgiving games. Packers got the early game at Ford Field against the Lions. That's the early game, the 4:30 game. Commanders, your Commanders, going down to Arlington. That'll be a good game right there. See about the upset. That's a -11 Cowboys are favored at home. That's a slap in your face, Raj.
I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
49ers at Seahawks. That's the late game. That game definitely has implications in the NFC West. And then, like we said, the Black Friday game, which you feel could go over 80 points, I believe you said earlier. So
or under 30.
Or under 30.
One of the
give or take.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Speaking of lines and spreads, let's go ahead and roll into our Week 12 picks. I'll go first. So I like the Titans -3.5 hosting the Panthers. So Tennessee had a pretty bad loss in Jacksonville. The Panthers are arguably the worst team in the league. I think Tennessee can bounce back and at least cover 3.5. I think they're good enough to open things up against a Panthers team that really can't score. So not saying that the Titans are going to put up huge numbers, but they should be able to cover that. So I like the Titans -3.5 hosting the Panthers. Eagles. I like the Eagles -3 versus the Bills. And like I said, if you go back and you listen to what we've been talking about, one of the things I've always said about the Bills ever since they won on the road against the Commanders is that they can't win anywhere else on the road. And so they are they're a pretty tough team at home, but when they get on the road, they're not the same squad. And I know they've shaken things up with their OC, with Joe Brady at the helm. It looks like they showed a little life in the game last week. But I just think, especially with this win that the Eagles are coming off of in Kansas City, the Eagles are feeling mighty confident. And I agree with the sentiment of what Jalen Hurts and the rest of the team have pretty much said, is that they haven't put together their best game. So I see that momentum carrying on. Take the Eagles, lay the 3 points at home against the Bills. And then finally, I like the Ravens -3.5 on the road at SoFi against the Chargers. Now, if the Ravens are who they think they are, or who a lot of people believe they are supposed to be, one of the top teams in the AFC, this is a game that they should win. They've won some big games this season. They've suffered some losses that were pretty tough. The one last week or the week before against Cleveland was pretty tough.
Right.
But I do definitely see them taking that momentum that they had from last Thursday's game, and I definitely see them going on the road on the fast track on turf and putting up a nice size number on the Chargers. So I do like the Ravens -3.5 at SoFi against the Chargers. Those are my picks. Roger?
Okay, good luck, and I like all of those picks. Yeah, no, I'm behind you on all three. The Eagles, Bills, that seems like a tough one. But I agree with you, because I had Kansas City against Philadelphia and KC, and for Philly to come away with that win, that is huge. They outscored Kansas City 14-0 in the second half. You imagine shutting out Kansas City at home at Kansas City in the second half? That's amazing. So they're definitely, the Eagles are flying high. So I like this week. I'm going to start off with the Bengals +1 at home against Pittsburgh. I know that Joe Burrow is out. One of my tenets for betting NFL games has always been who is in the most desperate situation. The Bengals, are definitely in a desperate situation, but they are playing at home. Pittsburgh's offense is not a threat to beat anyone, really. Even with a new offensive coordinator, they're all of a sudden going to turn things around and score a lot of points in 1 week? I don't think so. This looks like a kind of a trench warfare type of game to me. And I think that Cincinnati at home should come away with a win here and stay somewhat relevant when it comes to the playoff.
I'm not going to lie, Roger. That pick somewhat shocks me that you would make that, but I do like it. You got the cojones. You make those picks. You have the cojones to do so. So, but that does kind of shock me with you being a huge proponent of the Steelers.
Mike Tomlin. Yeah, I'm more of a proponent of Mike Tomlin than I am the Steelers. Because he finds a way to win, but last week was just really dismal for them. And Najee Harris, said it all after that game. He was like, we're 6-4, big deal. Big deal. He was like, if we can't turn this around on the offensive side of the ball, he was like, it doesn't matter if we sneak into the playoffs. We're not going to be a factor if we cannot get the offense turned around. And I thought that was a great point. I felt for him, and I felt his passion when he put it that way right after the game.
One last point on the Steelers, Jaylen Warren.
Yeah.
Their second running back. he's been putting up some huge numbers. I think 120 yards overall over the past 3 weeks. So I like his performance, and hopefully that will jumpstart that offense along with a new voice.
And he broke a long one last week.
He did,
which was a big part of that, big number. But overall, they got to get way better before I want to jump on the bandwagon of like kind of picking them every week. So my second pick is San Francisco and Seattle over 43. I just think that there's too much offense on both sides of the ball. San Francisco is really clicking right now. And again, when it comes to overs, as I said last week, and I hit one of those and pushed on the other one, almost hit both of them. My thing is, is one team going to score the majority of the points? In this case, I think San Francisco will. They're on a roll. And the over-under being 43, I see them scoring a minimum of 27 points. So that's how I see that game going over 43. And it's in Seattle, too. Third pick will be the Rams minus 1 point, almost a pick 'em, but the Rams minus 1 point at Arizona. The Rams, again, are in that category of a 4-6 team that is their backs against the wall. They have to win to stay in the playoff picture. So I look at desperate teams. I don't look at Arizona as a desperate team right now because they're out of the picture. Kyler Murray is back, but I don't think it makes that much of a difference against a team that really has something to play for. And I think that Arizona is getting to the point of the year where they've been so competitive for most of the year against such long odds that eventually it just wears you down, and you start to kind of fall apart a little bit. So those are my 3 picks for the week, and I think we're headed toward another winning week.
I've been so captivated with backups coming in. I totally forgot that Matt Stafford was back. So when I saw him in the game last week against Seattle, I was like, hold on, Matt Stafford's playing? So you're seeing more backups come in, and like one of the bigger stories, I don't want to bury the lead of Joe Burrow going down. That's a huge loss, along with Deshaun Watson. So the AFC North went from 1 week being the toughest division to potentially being one of the more average, weaker divisions at the end of the day due to injury. So, but I do feel good about the picks. I think we're gonna continue this good streak of wins and making some money for you folks out there. The profits delivering the profit. That's what we do.
Well put.
So that concludes our show. One last thing, Roger. Any Thanksgiving memories as far as on Thursdays? Anything that jumps out that just sticks out for Thanksgiving?
It's all pretty much the same for me over the years. It involves extravagant eating, like extreme eating, and then a lot of football, and then extreme sleeping. And occasionally when traveling to family out of state and things like that, there was always some golf. There was always some football, some backyard football being played, but nothing, I don't think, out of the ordinary. So what about you?
No, just from a game day standpoint, always wondering why the Lions of all teams got to have a team, got to host a game every year. I'm like, they're not the only team with a dome. So if we're worried about weather, we can go to Minnesota. We could go to the Oilers back in the day. We can go down there to Astrodome or something. We can go to Seattle. Why Detroit? And I was really hating.
I don't know. You would think that on Thanksgiving that they would that the Gobblers would have more games on Thanksgiving than.
Right.
Oh, that's right. There isn't a Gobblers, is there? It's okay. So, but yeah, I get the point about Detroit. I've never understood that. What's the big deal about Detroit? But they're playing great this year, so it should be good for the network that carries the game. I'm guessing that would be Fox.
And then one of the more memorable moments with I want to say, was it Leon Lett? They kicked the
yes.
They kicked the field goal, and they were like, stay away from the ball, and he slid right into it and gave him an opportunity to kick the field goal again. Yeah. And I believe it was the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Won it in the snow at the old Texas Stadium. So
he let that
happen. I see what you did there. Aha. And on that note, guys, we're gonna let you go. It's another exciting and abbreviated version of the DAMW podcast, the DAMW being the Don't Ask Me Why podcast with myself, Reggie, and Roger. You all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Be safe, eat well, rest well, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
We'll see you next week with special guest Tyrone Drakeford.
Tyrone Drakeford is in the house. We're out.
Have a great Thanksgiving.